How have you overcome the lower sex drive you experienced at the beginning? When you two finally do get pregnant, will you wait to find out the gender? Does Jonathan's height bother you when around when around taller men? All right, welcome back to another episode of Between the Walls podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Jess.
And I'm Jonathan, and we are the Wallaces.
Yes, we are.
You always say, welcome to Between the Walls podcast. Is it welcome to the Between the Walls podcast or Between the Walls podcast?
I don't like the Between the Walls because the word "the" is already in. Yeah, so I just welcome to Between the Walls podcast.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Sorry.
We made it to the end of the year.
Let's do it. We did it.
We figured we would do a Q&A to just end off. We're not ending the season. We're just ending 2024.
Yeah.
And some of you guys probably haven't come here from my YouTube channel, so you probably don't really know us that well. So we figured we'd answer some questions we asked on our Instagram, our Between the Walls Instagram channel or page, which is
Between the Walls Pod.
Between the Walls Pod on Instagram. So follow us there if you are not already.
Yeah, and if you don't have an Instagram, as some people have noted, make an Instagram and just follow us. You don't have to follow anybody else. You can just follow us.
It is free. So
also, we're going to take a mid-season break. When I say break, it's like maybe 2 or 3 weeks in total. But we'll be back pretty soon. So this will be the 8th episode. I haven't told Jess this yet, but I want to do 8 more episodes to close out the season.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but that's exciting.
We're going to do 8 more episodes to close out the season. But yeah, it's been super fun to work with you.
Yeah, to work with me?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's great working with you.
I feel like a lot of people say it's important not to work with your spouse.
Well, we both have
our separate jobs. Yeah.
And I think that helps.
That does help. I always tell Jonathan, like, of course, love you so much to death, but I think it's just so important that we spend time apart in the day. Like, you go to work, I go to work, we're just at different places. Even though I don't think that will always be the case. I think eventually we might be working together, but some people have asked that, and we'll get into that later. But before we get into the questions, tell me, what was your peak of the week?
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same one this week. Well, because Jess's brother is going to California for Christmas, we had to celebrate Christmas. And I'm sorry for my voice, guys. It's a little hoarse. But we had to celebrate Christmas early with her family. So I feel like as you're an adult, well, at least I'll speak for myself. As an adult, the Christmas spirit isn't what it was when I was a child. When I was a child, it was the best. You're excited for your cousins to come. And it was just so much fun. But as you get older, some of the magic dies. But the magic coming back to me was buying gifts for my nieces and nephews and watching their reactions.
They had some pretty good reactions.
It's just the best, I think that brought the Christmas spirit back to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So that's my peak of the week for sure.
Yeah, it was really sweet. To be honest, yeah, I guess we did have the same one. But we've had a few Christmas parties this week. I don't know why saying the word Christmas is so hard for me.
Christmas.
Because sometimes I'm like the M just disappears. Christmas parties, like I said, Christmas. Where's the M? Christmas. This week, and I guess I'll just, since I have to choose a different one. Well, I don't have to, but I think it'd be nice. We had another Christmas party with our friends, and it was just nice. We're starting a new tradition where we do gingerbread houses, and then we fall asleep watching Home Alone. So still have not seen a whole episode of it, but...
Whole episode of Home Alone?
I mean, a full video. What is it? A full...
Movie?
The full movie of it, but... it's a vibe. We were hanging out. We were having a good time. So this season is just really nice to hang out with your family and friends.
For sure.
It's just nice.
That's awesome.
Like the holiday season, it feels like there's a different crisp in the air. It just makes you appreciate togetherness.
100%.
All right. Sappy. Let's get into the questions, shall we?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So I did ask you guys to ask us on the Between the Walls page and then also on my personal Instagram. But we're going to start off with our real ones, which is the Between the Walls page. All right, so Colby T, I believe it says, if y'all were to do a year in review, what are your top 5 moments?
Top 5 moments of this year.
You do that a lot, babe.
What?
Talk like this all the time on this podcast. I was noticing the other day when I was editing.
I talk slow because I need to not let my
oh, there it is.
Now, to not let my mind go faster than my mouth is moving, which I used to do often.
That's fair.
And I have to be like, I'm sounding like,
okay. That's fair. Okay, well, now that I know that, I can appreciate it more.
Yeah, my mind moves too fast, and my mouth doesn't move as fast. For sure, let's put California. We had a California vacation.
That was great. Yeah.
That was, I think, the number one moment of the year.
You know what moment of this year that I loved? Should we do 5 together or 5 each? 5 each.
5 together. That's hard.
Yeah.
Especially without thinking about it.
Yeah. The moment I loved when we were at Padrino's with our friends when they told us that they were pregnant.
Oh, that was great.
That was. I couldn't stop saying, bro, this is so good. It was such a fun surprise.
Top 5 moment for sure.
That was a fun one. Because they had been trying for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and they told us that they were pregnant.
And we were like, no way. So that was fun.
Starting this podcast is a top 5 moment.
Yes, that was good.
Oh, your first brand trip, I'm sure, is a top 5 moment.
First brand trip, that's fun. Okay, that's number 4. All right, give me a banger.
We just went to New Orleans.
We did just come back from vacation too. I don't think we told you guys that, but yeah, that was.
Yeah, we went to vacation in New Orleans. That was a fun trip.
Yeah, that was fun. Oh, okay. So Karen says, did you always want to have kids right away, or was birth control a thing? I actually did not want to have kids right away. I was very adamant about I want the first year to be just Jonathan and I. I was very adamant about that. But I will say we were never on birth control. So
yeah, pull and pray.
Pull and pray. I've never ever been on birth control. So
I guess I have to ask you. You know, we've had our noted difficulties conceiving. Mm-hmm. If it was between conceiving in the first year or where we're at right now, are you happy it ended up this way?
It's hard to answer because if I get pregnant in like 4 months, I'd be like, you know, I much prefer it this way. But if it's like, I'm not getting pregnant for another 10 years, I would definitely say I'd rather get pregnant right away. So I don't know if I can answer that until I know when it's going to happen. But I think it was so important for us to have that first year
I agree.
To ourselves. A lot of people, and to each their own, would want to have kids right away. And like, I just, you know, for me, in my opinion, I think it's so important to have some time together. Even if it's like, oh, but we've known each other for so long, or even if it's like, oh, we already live together, like, let's do it. But like I said, that's your business. I don't care what y'all do. But for us, I was like, let's have this first year. Let's go outside. Let's get to know each other, see each other's quirks and all that stuff. Because I hear it all the time, but I already know once you have a baby, it changes everything. And that alone time, you might not see it for a while. All right. This is for you, Jonathan. Would you ever stop PT when social media becomes a main source of income?
Well, I mean, I hope social media can become a main source of income between the two of us eventually. But I don't think I would quit PT altogether. Mm-hmm. I could see myself going into much more of a part-time role. I feel like I just worked really hard for the degree. Mm-hmm. And I also think PT would be a great job in a limited capacity as well. You know, so like less than like 20 hours a week, I could see doing just as a way for us to get some separation as well and make money.
Crazy. I was kidding, yeah.
And balance. I don't think I'd ever quit completely.
Yeah. Even if we were making like $5 million a year?
Well, I don't know about that. $5 million is a lot of dollars.
It's a lot of dollars. It's $5 million of them.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'd see. But I don't think I have plans, at least, to stop being a PT.
So, what is one thing you learned about yourself and one thing you learned about each other this year? I guess I'll go. So, for me, one thing I learned about myself, did I always know this, or is it something I honed in on this year? I guess it was just that I can be very anxious. I can be pretty anxious. I always knew that, huh? So I didn't learn that this year. All right, let's be for real for a second. I don't know if I learned anything new about myself this year. I think I know myself pretty well. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think I'm like, wow, I didn't know that about me. I'm like, I really do feel like I'm pretty self-aware.
For the most part.
I think I'm pretty self-aware. So I'm not sure if I learned anything. Maybe I saw something in me that I'm like, oh, maybe this is a bigger problem than I thought or something. But I think that's just me trying to answer the question. But I really don't think I learned anything brand new about myself this year. Also because life hasn't really changed so much for me to be like, act some different type of way that I never knew this about myself. Like life has been pretty much the same this year that it was last year or whatever. I think if we had a major life change, I would see something new about myself. But I feel like I was pretty much the same.
That's fair. I think something that I've learned new, I learn new things all the time, but something I've learned new even this month, is, for example, I had a sad mood while we were on vacation, and I couldn't really describe why, but I pressed into God, and I think one thing that I figured out about myself, or I figured out in general, is how a lot of stuff doesn't matter as much as you think it does. Mm-hmm. You know, that the thing, like a revelation that I had is that, of course, we would like to make more money or be successful in our spheres of influence and all that good stuff. But I think I realized that none of that really matters unless it's for something else. If you get what I'm saying. Like, if it's all for us, or if it's all for us to get glory or us to have more things, it's not going to make us any more happy. Mm-hmm. That I said this, and I'm like, that sounds crazy, but like, no amount more money that I had would make me happier than I am right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That money wouldn't make me any happier. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that God's been firming up in me. So that's something I've learned about myself, that like, I don't need all these things that I care about a lot as much as I think I do. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah. What did you learn about me?
What I learned about you? What I learned about my wife. I don't know if I learned it, but it's something that was affirmed. Okay. Is that I need to be intentional about communicating with her and asking her questions on how she's feeling. Oh. Because sometimes she won't necessarily offer it up just in order to try to keep peace and try to not get upset or be mad or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I need to, if I sense something, continuously press into it rather than being like, I guess she's not going to tell me. And then just hope she gets over it.
Interesting. Okay. Do you remember what made you...
Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it on here. You know, when...
Atlanta?
Yeah, when she was mad about us not moving. She tried her best to pretend that it wasn't that big of a deal to her. But it was her, like, repressing it. So just trying to seek out moments for honesty so we could have real conversation and reach understanding. Mm-hmm. What I need from you is understanding.
Yes. Okay. What have I learned about you? I don't know if I learned anything new, but I will say I can see, like, now more than ever, how much my husband loves me. There's so many times that I've said to myself this year, I'm like, man, Jonathan really loves me, man. Like, and it makes me want to make sure that I can do better. But I'm like, hey, you need to be as nice as you've ever been, bro. Like, this man loves you so much. And I love you too.
Thanks, wife.
All right. Lisa_Locke says, does your job and your calling align? How so? I'm 29 and stuck. I guess this is more for you. I guess it could be both of us.
It could be either of us.
Does our job and our calling align? I think mine definitely does. See, I feel like my job, I can make it into whatever I want. With Instagram or social media, you can do whatever you want. But I definitely think that my calling, you're called to spread the gospel in general. But I know we all have like that's like the big umbrella, and then we have like our little things underneath. But I just feel like I'll just, a part of my job is to just bring joy and spread joy and allow people to see the realness of what a believer is, because I feel like there could be a lot of fake stuff or fake expectations that are put on, and people feel like they have to be a certain way, and that's why they don't want to be a believer or be a Christian, because they feel like they have to come perfect. And I feel like I have been able to show with my platform that it's not about perfection. It's just about what is it about? Just come as you are, bro. Like, it's a like work in progress every day. I just know that God knows I'm doing my best. Every day, I can't say I'm doing my best every day. Some days I slack, and that's okay. I feel like I'm here to let people know, like, hey, man, you don't have to be perfect every single day.
To get back up.
Yeah, to be a believer, or for Jesus to be proud of you, or like, I'm not good enough, and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's okay.
Whatever you do can be a part of your calling.
Yes.
Whether it's something that you like doing or not. I think in general, for me, I speak for myself as a believer, like Jess said, my calling is to make the name of Jesus known and to love people well. I think my personal calling that God gave over my life before I started PT school was to positively impact lives of as many people as possible. And I think I do that within my current job, but you could be doing a version of that through whatever you do. So don't get discouraged if you're not yet where you want to be in terms of a job that you feel is fulfilling to you. Serve well wherever you're at, even if you don't like it. Mm-hmm. That shows good faithfulness and will build you for the time where you can walk into the job that you actually do want.
Yeah, that's good.
If it's something that God has for you, he'll give you the opportunity to walk into the thing that will make you feel more fulfilled, job-wise.
I love that, babe. All right, what do you enjoy the most about being married?
This is going to sound so cliche, so corny. I get to spend so much time with my best friend. Jess is one of the coolest people in the world. She's definitely my favorite person to hang out with in the whole world. So I get to hang out with her often. That's great. And I think the fact that she's so great is evidenced by the fact that I have to fight all her friends for her time. She's so busy.
Can we kiss? That was cute. I love you.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the best part of being married to me. Yeah, I get to spend time with my friend.
Yes. Like, we were earlier today, I was like, hey, man, I got to use the bathroom real quick. He's like, well, I'm coming with you. He's like, isn't it crazy that we're married and we can just do this? I'm like, I guess so. Like, being married is so crazy. And I know that some people do all this stuff before marriage, but a lot of the stuff we didn't do. And it was just like, being married is crazy. Literally, we can do anything together under the, right, But like, I can't even say the things I want to say. It's just crazy. But it's great. It's fun.
It's fun. We have a good time.
Yeah, it is also great. Like, my friend was telling me the other day, like, how great it is to have a sister. You just literally call them anytime you want. Like, the perfect person that you don't have to worry about annoying them because, okay, you annoy them, who cares? Like, they're always going to be there. And I'm like, okay, I don't have a sister. I never felt that. But, like, that's how I feel about my husband. It's like, I know I'm always going to have somebody, like, you're my everything. Like, someone who's going to have my back, it's you. Someone who's going to listen to me, blah, blah, it's you. I'm like, someone who will try whatever. I'm like, dang, if I want to go rock climbing, who am I going to ask? I'm going to ask my husband because he's down to do whatever, I need prayer, my husband. And I have other people, of course, and I don't want to put everything on him, but I know I have someone who can be everything. Not that you have to be everything, and that sounds like a lot of pressure, but, like, I know he's down for, like, all the things together.
Yeah, and I think a secondary thing that I would say is pretty cool is that with marrying Jess, I got a second family as well.
That was nice, yeah.
A second family that I genuinely love to spend time with and hang out with. And I feel like that's a privilege that I get that not a lot of people get. Mm-hmm. It's like many people tolerate their in-laws. Like, it's like, oh, they're fine.
Yeah.
But it's like I genuinely love hanging out with my brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, my parents-in-laws.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And your nieces and your
my nieces and my nephews. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, same. I mean, we both knew each other's family before, but it's like his brother was someone that I always, like, everyone acted like that was their baby. And now I'm like, oh, he ended up being my brother. I always loved his parents. So, yeah, our family dynamic is just it's a huge blessing. So, yeah. All right. Someone said, do you still get shy around Jonathan? I've been married for 3 years and still do at times. I don't know if I would say shy. Like, one thing I used to, like, not be able to do around Jonathan was record my voiceovers or, like, vlog, but, like, that's so out the window. I don't think I get shy around him. Sometimes I do feel insecure physically, and I'll be like, hey, man, look away. I'm about to put my shirt on or something. I mean, that's, like, rare. But it happens sometimes when I'm, like, feeling heavier on, like, heavy days, or, like, I feel lumpy or frumpy or on my cycle or something. I'm like, hey, watch out. But I don't know if I would say shy. Do you think I'm shy around you sometimes?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
In those moments. Like,
oh, yeah.
You listed them out pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't think I do.
No, Jonathan is all like, he's like, hey, this is everything. Like,
I don't think I get that shy anymore. Like, around,
like in general?
almost, yeah, like around most people.
Yeah, you're just like, hey, man,
it is what it
is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Someone said, will you guys welcome more guests on the podcast?
I hope so. We need to buy more mics.
Yeah, the reason why we don't have guests, we really wanted to have much more guests this season, and I'm not saying that we won't, but these are our only 2 mics right now. We need a little bit more equipment.
And that's our only camera?
Yeah, we have 1 camera, so usually when you have guests, it would be nice if you had an angle or 2, more mics, so we're not just like speaking on the same mic. And then we probably wouldn't even be able to have it here because this couch is not big enough either.
Yeah, you probably need to have it at the other side of our house.
Yeah, so there's some
logistical issues. The last time we had our brother and sister-in-law, someone else recorded and edited that for us.
Yeah, that was
like
great.
Their podcast people did it for us. So that was the difference, which made it a lot easier. Yeah, I mean, ideally, yes. We just have to figure it out logistically, though.
All right, so I'm going to try to run through these a little bit faster. When you 2 finally do get pregnant, will you wait to find out the gender?
I don't want to wait at all.
The answer is no.
I would like to know as soon as it's possible to know.
Yeah, I think maybe if we got pregnant again, I think it'd be kind of fun to wait.
I'm never waiting.
Never waiting?
I'm never waiting. You can wait. I need to know.
Okay, so it sounds like we will not. Maybe, who knows? Our minds could possibly change once it actually happens, but right now I would like to know. You
can wait.
Thank you.
I need to know, though.
Okay, heard. Yes. Okay, it's not this interesting question. Someone said, "Does Jonathan's height bother you when around when around taller men?" No, because I'm also short. So I think it's you know what's funny? I was with our cousin yesterday, and he is tall. What is he? 6'2"?
I don't know how tall he is.
Whatever. He's at least 6. And we're walking in the mall yesterday, and every time I looked over at him, I'm like looking at his elbow. I'm like, I'm not used to that. And I told them, I'm like, walking next to you is so weird because I'm like used to looking over and seeing a face. But I look over and I have to come back up. I'm like, it's much easier to just look over at my husband and he's right there, you know? It's because I'm just used to it. Like we have been doing this dance for a long time. And yeah, it's fine. And does it bother you when he's around other men who are taller? Like, no, I don't care. I really don't care.
I'm glad you don't care.
I don't care. And if it bothered me, I wouldn't marry him. You know, I want to say something. Because some people could be like, oh, that's not a reason to not marry someone. But I actually think it definitely is. Because if it did bother me, that's going to bother you all the time. And it's just going to be something that's going to affect you. And I don't think it's fair to marry someone that there's like something physically about them that you really don't like. And just leave them for someone who loves everything about them. You know what I mean? But do you agree or no?
I don't disagree. I mean, if it's not something you can get over.
Right. If something that's like, oh, I really just want to be married. You know, other than that, he's great. And there are small things where it can be like, okay, other than that, he's great. Like something small, but something that can never change that you're going to have to deal with every single day. Like if Jonathan didn't like that I was dark-skinned, but he's like, oh, but I just think she has a great personality. But every time he looks at me, I'm still dark-skinned and he doesn't like that. It's like, even though that's not a reason to not marry someone, but if it's going to bother you every day for the rest of our marriage, just like leave that person to someone else who loves a dark-skinned woman. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're right.
How have you overcome the lower sex drive you experienced at the beginning? Who's she talking to? I guess it's probably me. We talked about that?
Yeah, but I think we both do, though.
We both have you have a low sex drive?
Not low, but lower.
Then who?
Than it was when I...
Oh, is that what they're talking about, maybe?
Then before we got married.
Yeah, I guess maybe I can... How have we overcome it? Have we?
I think, I think a part of it is adjusting expectations. That it just doesn't want to do it every time I want to do it. I think that's why it's important to learn self-control from before you get married, because if you wait until you get married to learn self-control, you're going to be in some trouble. Yeah, you're going to be in some trouble.
Yeah. Well, for me, some ways to overcome it is sometimes you're just going to have to do it. And it sounds crazy, but sometimes you have to do it even if you don't really care to start. Because I promise you, after a little bit, it's like, okay, wait, this is kind of fun. And then you're like, why aren't we doing this all the time? Because sometimes the process to get there is a little bit of a thing when you're not necessarily in the mood, but you get there eventually. And I have to remind myself that.
Yeah, I think being intentional is super important. Even if sometimes I'm not feeling it, but if Jess is pursuing me, I will make sure to, for lack of better words, push through. But push through is not the right word, but to engage, because if we only ever did it when I'm feeling it and when she's feeling it, we wouldn't do it super often. But it's really important to continue to have sex for our marriage, even if sometimes you're not feeling like it. Because when it's happening, you're having a good time. Yeah. And after it's like, well, I'm glad that I did that.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to say this girl's name. I don't think I've even been saying the names recently, but she said, I prayed the prayer and God hasn't removed him. So is this my husband or nah?
That's amazing.
That was funny. What do you think, babe?
Not necessarily. I feel like there's a lot of context needed to answer this question, but that does not necessarily mean that he is your husband.
No. And what was that prayer? Is it like, God, please remove him? Because if you're praying
if he's not for me, then remove him.
Oh, if he's not for me, then remove. Oh, that one. If he's not for me, then remove him. Nah, that's no. Because he could be giving you the discernment. It's like, oh, I'm telling you. The discernment, that is me trying to tell you to remove him.
Sometimes you need to remove yourself.
Yeah, like you remove me. I feel like that's such a cop-out sometimes. Like, God, remove him if he's not for me, because you don't want to do it. And you're just like, okay, God, make it so plain to remove him. And it's like, if you feel like you need to know, like, remove him, God, maybe he's not the one for you.
Yeah, I mean, I had moments when I was trying to make a decision and I stood in the ocean and I just stood there. I'm like, God, if this wave knocks me over, that means that X, Y, Z. And if it doesn't, it means something else. Then the wave hit me and I'm like, should I have fell down right there? It was just so dumb. And I think when you learn to seek God for God, he starts to become very clear to you.
Yes.
It doesn't benefit him at all to keep you in the dark. So sometimes you just have to press in a little bit harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Use your discernment.
And walk in peace.
Walk in peace, my good sis. Somebody said...
My husband is crazy. I love it.
So funny. When God told you he was your husband, how did you steward the word?
That's a good question.
That was a good question. Well, I think I actually told you, and that was a bad idea.
I don't remember her telling me.
I do think I was like... I feel like I did tell you that. And I feel that's when you were like, huh? You're going to start acting funny. I'm like, I should never tell him nothing.
How should you steward the word?
So here's the thing. Sometimes I feel like if you ask God something, he will answer. And I feel like I asked and he gave me an answer, but he didn't give me a time. Okay? And when he told me way, like 3 years before he told Jonathan. And that is where things came into issues, because this whole time I'm like, this is my husband, but my husband not acting like my husband right now. But it's like, oh, because he's not your husband right now, he will be. But I just feel like I needed to just know that and trust instead of know it and then act. So I feel like the good thing is just, the way to steward it should have been know and trust instead of, like I said, trust and act. I was acting on it. I was like, all right, so what we doing? You trying to be with other girls? I said, no, not around here. Let's blah, blah, blah. Like, I was like, hello, this is mine. God told me. And I'm like, you need to fall in line. And Jonathan's like, I don't know right now.
God ain't telling me nothing.
He's like, I ain't hear nothing. I'm like, ugh, God, hurry up. But, yeah. That's it. How do you deal with negative family or friends?
We don't get too much of that.
No, we don't.
Personally. Ew. But, well, friends, I feel like if a friend is perpetually negative, like they're negative all the time, that might not be a friend that you want to keep around.
Yeah.
And, well, I'll just say in general, if you have a negative family member or friend, you might have to start limiting their access to you to preserve your peace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. You can't let them constantly bring down your spirit, because then you can't be you. Mm-hmm. It's like in the plane, you have to put your oxygen mask on yourself before you help somebody else. Mm-hmm. As much as you want to help somebody else, unless you're getting help.
You're going to die in the process of helping them, and then you both die.
Put your own mask on first. So if they're messing with your peace, your oxygen, then you might have to not let them have so much access to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Someone said, I want my husband to take over finances, but I don't want to resent him. How? Okay, so I can answer that for you. I think it's really, I don't know what the dynamic is now or if you've been taking control of it all this time or whatever, but I think it's so important to let your husband lead in a marriage. I think it falls in line with, like, respecting him and, like, submitting. And someone has asked me about submission too, but I feel like showing your husband that you trust him, even if you don't agree with everything, will only benefit your marriage. And you're asking, how do I not resent him? I'm not sure why you would resent him, like if he's not doing it right or whatever.
Or
but
if he's not doing it right, or maybe not letting her buy things that she wants to buy.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like you really just have to trust. And it's going to be a learning process. Like it probably might not be perfect the first month or the second one or the first 6 months. It's going to be a together thing. But I think taking over the finances shouldn't mean like you have no say or you have like no business in it anymore. It's still a together thing. And majority of it still should be together, but it's like with the umbrella of it being under his leadership, but still together.
Yeah, but I also don't think letting a man handle the finances is like, it doesn't have to be a man's job.
Yeah, it doesn't have to, but she wants him to take it over.
Yeah, but if you want him to because you feel like he should because he's a man, not necessarily. That shouldn't necessarily be the case.
That's true, because like, why do you want him to? Is it because he's better at the finances, or you want him to take up more responsibility? It's like, I can't handle this. Or is it because you feel like, oh, you're the man, you're supposed to be doing this? Because that's definitely not true.
The reasoning definitely matters there.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
If that's not his natural gifting and you're pigeonholing him into it, you might have some resentment because he might not be good at it. Mm-hmm. But if it's something that you know he would be good at, but you just don't know how you would be willing to submit, just a lot of prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it hard for Jess to submit? Did it look like I was having a hard time?
With finances or just in general?
No, it just says, I don't know, it just says submit.
No, not really. Jess is pretty good. The only time we had problems with that is during some portions of time with our finances, where I would say, I think we should save X amount, or I think we should invest X amount. And Jess was like, I think we should live X amount. And then, but she always ended up trusting me. And I think through trusting me, she ended up seeing what I was saying at the end of it.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I was not trying to save at all. But I was like, dang, where are you saving? Like, you're just saving a lot, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, hey, I'm trying to live a little bit because, like, we hadn't talked about in the last podcast. If you die today, you have all this stuff.
That's true. That's
live
true.
a little bit. So I was just like, I was trying to find a healthier balance at the time. I think we've got there. I definitely think we've gotten there.
I think we've gotten there, but I think now, like we talked about last podcast, we need to figure out our giving.
Yeah, but that's aside. Well, yes. Okay. Oh, are y'all allowed to be friends with the opposite sex? Yes.
Allowed is a strong word. Yes. The answer is yes. But yes. I think we're both very conscious on trying to keep our spouse involved in those friendships. That I don't think I have any friendships with the opposite sex or any real friendships. You know, there's people at church you run into, you say, hi, hey, it's nice to see you. But any real friendships with the opposite sex that don't include my wife.
Yeah.
Or even, I'm sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, you're fine.
Or even like working with the opposite sex, whether it's church stuff or actual work stuff. I'll almost always include Jess in those circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan's really good at, like, roping me into some, and sometimes I'm like, hey, bro, don't rope me in with no more. But I think he's very good and very
intentional.
Very intentional about it, so that's nice. And same, I don't really have that many friends outside of church, so all of my friends are the same. I don't have guy friends who I, like, go out to eat with or we're going to go to the movies. It's definitely not, like, none of that stuff like that, but I definitely have guy friends, but Jonathan knows every single one of them. So
yeah,
it's all good. And not to say that you can't have friends that your spouse doesn't know, like, initially, but after, if you guys are, like, close friends, then I think they should
it can be dangerous. I think
know them. We
have this one friend that me and her were working on an idea for church, and she's one of Jess's best friends, and me and her husband are very close as well, and we're a close couple. But in those conversations, I'll always have her husband present and Jess present, just out of basic respect and just in order to keep a certain level of boundaries there.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Someone said, what do you guys think about divorce? Struggling with that right now.
So what do I think about divorce? I think divorce is not something that should come up unless it's for very extreme circumstances. I think those circumstances being a history of infidelity. I even think that one time of infidelity, the Bible gives you your out there. But I do think that I would want to say that if I had found out that Jess, knock on wood, wherever, was unfaithful to me, that we would be able to work through it.
What if I got pregnant?
That's
the
crazy.
first, but it was just one time.
No, that's rough.
But it's
rough. It's rough.
It was an accident.
No, it's an accident. It's rough. Though.
And it was one time.
It's rough.
And you said you forgave me.
It's rough. I don't. That's harder. That's harder because
that's not fair. I'm not going to cheat on you, but
what's the big idea?
You're changing up.
No, but I'm saying I would like to think. Tell you what I'd like to think. No one knows what they would do in any situations. Anytime someone's like, I for sure would. Right.
Yeah, please.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything. But I would like to think that we'd be able to work through it. And then that's it. Or if your spouse abandons you, maybe your spouse abandons you. But I think the irreconcilable differences for me is not a reason to get divorced. Because if you think about what you promise during these vows, in sickness and in health, in good times and in bad, I can't think of anything else. But those two,
richer or poor,
till death do us part. And that's a promise that you're not just making to your spouse. That's a promise that you're making to God.
Yeah.
as well. It's like I put that on God, I put that on you, and I put that on everybody that's watching me say this as well.
On my mama, on my hood.
On my mama, on my hood. And I did look fly.
Yeah, I did look
and
good.
You did look good. I think it's on everything. So the fact that you're putting it on everything, there's not really a way out. That's the way I see it. Whereas divorce is not something that is entertainable for me at all. Unless, with those special circumstances. And, some people are like, but if I get divorced, God will forgive me. And if I'll just get remarried and God will forgive me. But if you look at what Jesus himself was saying about like divorce and remarriage, it sounded like he was saying like, ain't no remarriage in this either.
Wait,
unless your spouse dies.
So what if though, like, I didn't want the divorce, but it happened. I'm not allowed to get remarried? Because I'm like, I wasn't the one who asked for it. I worked for it.
I'm pretty sure that.
So,
well, I gotta go back and do my study.
Bad luck.
But it sounds tough. Pick wisely who you want to marry.
Nah, yeah, choose wisely.
And don't just get married to any Joe Schmo that wants to choose you.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I understand wanting to get chosen.
Oh, did you say violence?
I didn't say violence. The Bible doesn't say violence, but I do think that's a fair one.
Yeah, raise a hand to me. It's over, baby. All right. Someone said, who do you think will be the main disciplinarian?
So here's what I think. I think Jess will be the more often disciplinarian. And I think I'll be all right, enough. Like it's like it's gone past a certain level and now I'm upset. And now you need real discipline.
That real discipline? You don't think I'm going to give them real discipline? You think I'm a softie?
No, I don't think no, that's not what I'm saying. I think you have a shorter fuse. I feel like you're going to be like, get like, I think you're going to talk more. I think I'm going to talk less.
Less talk and more action.
Yeah. And action is not necessarily a spanking. Action is just, it's like, all right.
How do you feel about spankings? Are we spanking our kids?
I think that's not a one-size-fits-all punishment. I think Jamaicans in the past, it's like everybody gets beaten.
Yeah, no matter what.
It's like you're bad beaten.
And your brother, just because he was in charge.
But it's not an effective tool for everybody. And I think it actually works best in limited doses for like really young children, where it's like literally just like a tap, because it helps them get the association with, like, say they keep going over to touch the plug.
Right.
They
got those who can't hear must feel.
Yeah, you feel that. And then now I think past a certain age, I can give you a look and you're just like, oh, okay.
For sure.
I'm sorry, my
Let
bad.
me tighten up.
My bad. Because like my parents can give me a look and I'm like, all right.
My mom used to pinch us, like in church. If we was acting up, you get that pinch.
It's like, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm like, oh. When you see someone like, you know they got that pinch under the table. Yes. All right, Jess, did your brothers give Jonathan a hard time when he first came in? And does the age difference play a part when you guys first got together? Or I guess it's how did the age difference play a part?
We talked about the age difference a few times.
Did my brothers give you a hard time when you first came in?
No, they didn't.
They didn't. Great. It was too easy. Sometimes I'm kind of like, dang, dog, like, what's up? You don't got no questions for him? Or like...
Nah, that was real cool.
Like, what's going on? My brothers were pretty lax about majority of my boyfriends, except for this one time the whole talent show thing.
Oh yeah,
that was. I don't know what the heck that was about. But,
story time with Jess.
Let's give me story time with Auntie Jess real quick. Okay, so there was a time that I was dating this guy when I was like 18, and actually at the time we weren't dating. He was my ex-boyfriend, but he was still trying to get me back. So we had broken up for a little while. And then we have a church camp every year, the one that Jonathan and I met at. I don't think we didn't know each other. Well, I didn't know you at this time. You do know me?
I knew who you were.
But you didn't really care about me at the time. Anyways.
Not really.
Yeah. So we have a church camp. And when I tell you, when we were all on the bus getting ready to go, my jaw dropped when I saw him get on the bus because I had no idea he was coming. We hadn't spoken in a little while. Nobody told me that he signed up to come. So I'm like, this is going to be a very interesting next few days. No idea. So anyway, oh my God, I forgot I was wearing makeup and I just rubbed my eye. Anyway, so we have a talent show at camp every year. And I knew that he could sing. He could do a little razzle dazzle. So like they're like, next up, so and so. And I'm like, oh Lord. Okay. So I'm sitting in the front and he starts singing. He starts singing the song, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. And everyone's looking at me. I'm like, this is awkward because I'm like, this ain't it. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I didn't see this, but I hear that my brother's fuming in the back. Why? I'm not sure.
So some backstory that I've heard is that, since it is a church camp, we try not to do too much secular content there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I heard that he performed something else.
He auditioned with another song. So they wouldn't know. But when he went up there, he switched it to sing this.
That's crazy. Like I said, y'all, if he wanted to, he would. Okay, like your man wants you back, he gonna do what he gotta do. It didn't work, but apparently I hear my brother's fuming in the back, and people are holding him back. And looking back, I'm like, why are you so upset? What was the big idea? I don't know if he's like, you're embarrassing my sister. I don't know. My brother was young. I think it was really just like here's a chance to puff up my chest type of thing. But I remember he gets to a part where he starts trying to walk off stage and come to me, and then that's when GA was like, hey, all right. Like, because I think at that point, everyone starts realizing this is for the girl in the front. And when he starts seeing him walk towards me, he's like, and scene. Like, thank you, everybody. But he tells him to go back up on stage. And he's like, all right. Do you remember the whole finger? Like,
no.
He kept doing this to people like, all right, calm down. I'm like, ew. Anyways, that was the only boyfriend my brother gave a hard time to. Oh, and Kadeen. You heard about Kadeen?
No.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, one more story. So this same guy... we're not together at the time still, but somehow he ends up helping at my parents' 25th wedding anniversary party. Yeah. He ends up helping with the food at my parents' 25th wedding anniversary. I said we're not together. Or maybe we are. I don't remember. My cousin is a chef. He cooks all the food, right? But they're running behind. So at the time, my ex-boyfriend, I think he was my boyfriend at the time, he had a really fast car, like one of those 2-door cars. And since they were running behind, my cousin puts the jerk pork or jerk chicken or whatever in the back, and my ex-boyfriend was such a maniac at the time. He liked to drive real fast. Apparently he was taking twists and turns to get there on time. Oh, because he wanted to hear me sing. I was singing at my parents' thing. He was late to hear me sing. He's speeding back. By the time they get back, they open the trunk, and the food is spilled over everywhere, and my cousin wanted to kill him. And that has just been anyway. Thank you for your question. Okay, so with that being said, thank you guys for asking these questions. We hope to do this every now and then just to answer some stuff that we haven't been answering through our podcasts. And I know I missed a few of them, but we are on a time crunch. But just a reminder, we are going to be gone for a little bit. We're going to enjoy the holidays with our family, not worry about editing or any of that stuff, but we will be back.
We will be back
in 2025.
Pretty soon in 2025.
Yes, in January 2025, we will be back with more content. Hopefully we have more mics so we can have more guests.
We'll work on that.
And we just really want to give you guys the best content that we possibly can. We're going to switch things up a little bit too, but all that will be for next year. Thank you guys for rocking with us this whole year. First season and second season. No, second and a half season. It's been fun.
This is great, guys. When we talked about callings and, living your calling and working out your calling.
This is one of them.
There was a time earlier this year, well, maybe a little bit, it was probably last year, where I was feeling kind of purposeless in terms of whether it be the ministry side of my life or in terms of like doing things for Jesus or whatever. And I just didn't feel, I guess, like I had an opportunity to do as much as I thought I had inside of me. And doing this podcast and you guys that watch this podcast, I feel when I see and read the comments, I feel used by God. And every comment we read pretty much every comment, and we appreciate you guys so much for
thank you guys.
watching us, supporting us, your prayers for us. Through tough seasons, like they've been around through actual tough seasons.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
Thank you guys. And of course, as always, don't forget to follow us and subscribe to our channel. We do new podcasts every Monday, and they're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts on Tuesday mornings.
Yeah. Oh, guys, we're also pretty close to 10K on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed,
go ahead and do that.
Go ahead and do that. That'd be great.
Yes. And tell your mama, your auntie, your coworker, your friend, your neighbor. Tell them all, just go ahead and subscribe. It's good stuff over here. All right. We love you guys. We got to go. I hope you enjoy your holidays, your New Year's, and all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Merry Merry Christmas and happy
holidays.
It's a wonderful feeling. From the floor to the ceiling. It's that time, yeah. And Christmas time is near.